A little red from the sun, but that's a good thing. All right, let's see if we can see here and get some screen time, get all this going. So tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 20 seconds. Hey, a couple of you guys are saying 5x5. Here comes my screen. There you go. And I see me. What are you knowing? No ad at the beginning. How nice. All right. What did I say? Circe, Salt. Blah, there it goes flying by. Beautiful day. Salt Mist Cottage. Gina Von Mousetrap. Krista Cat. Dick Fleischer. Susan Musser. 5 Acre Gardener. Okay, good. Lots of 5x5s. All right. Happy Saturday, guys. One of the last ones where I can still see outside at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. I get the feeling by next week it'll probably be dark at this time. So, yeah, we're on the downswing of the year already. The days are getting shorter, right? So, I hope everybody had a good 4th and 5th and 6th. It's Independence Day weekend. So, I know a lot of people have long weekends, vacation time, which is good, fun, everything. Chill out a little bit, recharge the batteries. Though some of you guys are probably like me, it's like, come on, let it be Monday again so things can slow down. It's been just crazy around here trying to just keep up with everything. It was like between Thursday and barbecue, and then today we had a party to go to, the picnic to go to, I guess, if you will, this afternoon. So that was kind of fun, but it's like a little sun, if you will. Played cornhole for the first time in 20 plus years. Played one game and actually won, believe it or not. Don't ask me how, but yeah, that was it. So, yeah, so here we go on a Saturday night. No big excitement, just more people calling for Joe's resignation. No big deal there. Doesn't surprise anybody at this point, but I just look at it this way. Every day that goes by that he doesn't resign, good. That's one less day if he does that they have to get their name out there. So that's fine. It's not like people don't know who Kamala Harris is, but it was a topic of conversation with people today, as you figure it would be. And some people agree with me that it won't be Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom because they won't commit political suicide. Other people think it's going to be Michelle Obama. So it's kind of like the Deadpool game, It's like, oh, okay, who's going to get picked? But it's what it is. At this point, I don't think it really matters. I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that Trump's going to win. A couple more polls came out after the debate. North Carolina, Pennsylvania. There was one other one. Yeah, Trump leads them all. So they're just getting more and more and more and more wide. I mean, it's 4 and 5 points in a lot of these states now. That's huge. So, but we'll see what happens. But as we get closer and closer, the more important thing to watch is some of the congressional and Senate seats. I guess Montana for you guys looks like John Tester is going to get tossed on his butt, which is good. He's losing bad in the polls, so we'll see what happens. I mean, the Senate's not going to be anywhere to get us to 67 or anything like that. But hey, at this point, I'll take 51 or 52, just to shut Schumer up for a while. And the House is always hard to call because it's so, districts are so small, things like that. I mean, there's, some not going to change. I mean, I think we've only had one incumbent fall so far, and that was Jamal Bowman. Cori Bush she'll probably lose here in a couple of weeks when her primary is too. It's funny, she got pranked by somebody pretending to be a rabbi and inviting her to Gaza. That was kind of humorous. And she's like, oh, yeah, we've been trying to get over there and everything like that. It turned out it was a complete prank. It's like, yeah, you just proved to everybody that you know nothing about what's going on in the Middle East. But such is so. Uneventful weekend for news, which is a good thing. Sometimes quiet days are good, hence the reason why there were not as many videos in the last few days. There's nothing to talk about. I'm not going to waste your time or just to blabber on. But sometimes there's things that are on my mind that I do want to talk about. So then we go with them. But all right. So I know why there's a whole bunch of people here that I don't recognize the names. And that doesn't mean you haven't watched the channel for 3 years. Obviously, it's just not somebody who's active in the chat room or something in the comment section. And God knows with 115,000 people, I'm not going to remember everybody. But it's nice to see some different names coming in the chat, and nice to see. So welcome everybody, whether or not you are a regular chatter or not. I'm glad you're here, and we will have fun tonight. We are going to give away a free 2400 watt solar generator tonight, as I'm assuming pretty much everybody knows. Okay. So as I had said the other day, we will do that tonight live here in a couple of minutes. And I'm going to kind of go over what had to happen. So you guys had to, in order to be a valid entry, the person had to have listed the state in which they live in and a vegetable that they were eating with their 4th of July picnic, barbecue, whatever it would be. Okay. That was the requirement to be a valid entry. We will draw the winner here in a couple of minutes, live in front of everybody, so you guys can see it. They will have 3 minutes to reply in the chat room that they are here. Okay, they don't have to give me a long sentence or anything. I'm here is plenty. Okay, it's just the reason to must be present to win. So that's that. I'm going to say this again, and you guys have gotten better at this, and I appreciate it. Please, when I say no more comments, and the mods all put it in capital letters, no more comments, no more comments, no more comments, do not make any more comments, okay? We've been doing it this way for over a year, so everybody should know by now. Reason is pretty simple. There's, I don't know how many, 2,441 of you in here right now, and there's one of me. And you guys all know, even though we're on slow mode, how fast the chat goes, okay? I'm looking for one person to say one thing. I do not want to miss that person's name. So in respect for me, in respect for everybody else who's in here, please refrain from making any comments once we ask you not to. Okay? If you fail, the moderators will put you in a 7-day timeout. And I know people always bitch and say, I didn't get here till late. Not my problem. Okay, sorry. Okay. When we're doing the drawing, y'all can see the chats. Even if you come in late, the chat shows up. Don't make any comments. So, that being said, and Robin, sorry you had to do it on the video a couple of days ago. The entries that you guys put in the chat here aren't valid. So, all right, let's get over to this thing. Let's flip the camera around. Here we go. Random comment picker. There is the link to Thursday morning's video. We will do fetch. We do not include replies. As I said, primary comments only. We do not allow duplicates. Everybody gets one entry. Let's see how many entries we have as we tick on along. There's 1,000. All right. I figure we got at least 2,400, 2,500 people here now. So let's see. There's 25. We're going to make it to 3,000 this time? Maybe. Supposedly. 3,077 comments. All right. At this point, no more comments. Moderators, put it up. No more comments. Cat Lady's got it up there. Jacob's got it up there. Otimer, Tristan, Prep Rebel, Bass Eckward, Robert, Ashley. Okay, I'm hoping by now you guys got it. No more comments. Anything after this point gets you a 7-day bye-bye. And the potential winner is Donna Zentmeyer 5209. Thanks, Pinball. Here in Virginia, we are having tomatoes and cucumbers from the garden. Happy 4th, everyone. All right, Donna Zentmeyer, that is a valid entry. You have until 9:12 to say you are here. We are looking for Donna Zentmeyer. And Donna, I hope your name matches in the chat that it did in the comments, but we will look. Okay, I'll take it back. You'll have till 9:13 because it already flipped. Do. All right, looking for Donna Zentmeyer. Donna is here, wrist up to tomatoes. There you go. My guess is you're processing tomatoes or something like that and try to get your hands on. Oh my God, I got a type with tomato juice all over my hands. All right, Donna, congratulations. You are the proud new owner of a Affery 2400 watt solar generator. If you would be so kind as to email me your name, address, physical address, and phone number. I have the generator here in house, obviously, and I will be sending that to you on Monday. So that will be my trip, run to town and get this off to you. But like I said, email me your name, address, phone number, pinballpreparedness@mail2world.com. It's in the description. It's under every video, so you can find my email. Send that to me. The sooner I get it, the sooner I can get everything put together. But congratulations. All right. One more prep in the kitty, and now as you're peeling tomatoes, you can know that there'll be some backup power in your house by next weekend. All right. So let's get into some Q&A and see what's on y'all's mind. And now it's dark. As per normal, if you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps, just like every other YouTube channel out there. It just makes it a lot easier for me to see who's directing something at me. I wholeheartedly encourage you guys to have conversations amongst yourselves. This is a community. Okay? This is not a one-way thing. If you are having conversations amongst yourselves, please just keep it in lowercase. It helps everything else kind of move a little faster around here. The only thing I do require is that we treat each other in here with respect and dignity, no being rude. I'm totally okay with difference of opinion, but we're not gonna be obnoxious to each other, and we're not gonna go off on crazy conspiracy theories. Okay, the one thing we stick to in here is factual information. It's kind of like yesterday there was all this story. I don't know if anybody caught it late last night about oh my God, Biden had a medical emergency on Air Force One. I saw this as it was being mentioned. Could not confirm it anywhere. Never got confirmation. Not playing those games, okay? We want factual information. There's fake news that comes out from both sides. Don't need it, don't want it, okay? We got enough to deal with all the chaos that's going on that's factual. We don't need to add more crazy stuff to it. So that being said, before we do get started, I wanted to welcome back Prep Rebel. And buddy, we missed you. Glad you are back home and hope you are feeling better. Keep mending, if you will. We need you around here. So welcome back, brother. All right. Let's see where we're going to start. And I already saw one comment I know we're going to have an interesting conversation with. Okay, first one, Heather Bray. Do you think we're in the quiet before the storm? We're not talking about Beryl. Yeah, Beryl's going to barrel into Texas here on Monday, I guess. I don't think it's quiet. And like I said in today's videos, I've said this for months. You can prepare what's the word I'm looking for? Expect, I guess. The second half of this year, which now we're in, to get really crazy. And, my concern is they're going to get more violent and more violent and more violent. I mean, again, I've said many times, somebody please remind me of all the violence that was committed by Republicans when Trump had the election stolen from him in 2020. And don't give me January 6th, because that wasn't violent. But please tell me about all the violence we had with George Floyd, Chaz Chop, Kyle Rittenhouse, pick one of those. Okay, we know who the violent party is. You know, if they don't get their way, they burn, loot, and murder. So yeah, it's going to get worse, and they know they're not going to get their way. So expect craziness to happen. Yeah, I don't think it's calm. It's only going to get worse. That's what I think. That's what I think. Cajun Mom 727. Pinball. Heard last night on another non-YouTube channel that Biden had a medical. Okay, just talking about that. Yeah, like I just said, I cannot verify that anywhere. Okay. I respect Laura Loomer. Everybody's entitled to be wrong sometimes. I think she kind of jumped the gun on that one. I've always been a believer, I'd rather be right than first. Okay. And because when you're wrong, that's when you really start damaging your reputation. Mainly Maximus, I'm having a hard time growing stevia from seeds. Any info would be a blessing. I've never tried, so I can't help you on this. It's something I might even have seeds. I didn't plant it. I remember wanting to get some. I don't remember if I did. But no, unfortunately, I'm not going to be helped because I've never done it. Lori Simmons, do I water my tomatoes with a sprinkler or in another way? I've heard that you should water at ground level to avoid disease. However, a sprinkler would be so much easier. I'm gonna tell you what I believe, and I'm gonna give you both sides. Okay. Yes, I know there's a whole bunch of people that will say go out and water your sprinklers from below at ground level because you don't want the leaves to get wet, et cetera, et cetera. I understand what they're saying. The biggest reason for it is if you water there at the base like that, you're not going to have as much evaporation because you're getting the water right to the roots. You're not watering area where it's almost a waste, and you're not watering, because I doubt anybody, hopefully you're not watering at 2 o'clock in the morning, okay, no sun out. So yes, by watering at the base, you reduce your evaporation like crazy. Yes, you will reduce the potential for disease depending on when you water, okay? If you water in the mornings like you're supposed to and not the heat of the day, the plant will dry off before you're going to have disease. You don't want to be watering in the evenings because now it's dark and that moisture stays on the plant all night and then can harbor disease. Now, me personally, I water with an overhead sprinkler in the morning, okay? And I want to give you this as food for thought. When it rains, do you get water on the leaves of your plant? Yes. How do farmers water? Overhead watering, okay? I mean, sure, you can see some with drip tape out and things like that. I get it, okay? But if you look at large farms, it's overhead watering. If you do it at the right time, there's no problem. Just don't overhead water in the heat of the day, and don't do it at night. If you're going to overhead water, do it in the morning. You don't have to get out there at 5 o'clock or something like that. Just try to get done before around 10. James Farmer, sorry, forgot uppercase. Any update on the 77-year-old Navy guy the state of Tennessee said is not a U.S. citizen, but the federal government said he is? I don't know anything about the story, so haven't ever heard anything on it. So I'm unfortunately no help on that one. Sorry. Dan 2832, there's a 78 Cutlass hatchback for sale around here for 18 grand. Has the world gone crazy or what? Okay, I can't see a 1978, maybe a 78 Corvette, maybe going for that. But I can't see any other 1978 American-made car for that price, even if it was in damn near new condition. Okay. Uh, yeah, I mean, the cars back then were underpowered. I don't think. When did we go to K cars? Was that 1980 when Chrysler introduced the little Dodge Aries and stuff like that? Uh, I mean, we were past the land yachts, but we were. This was still. Yeah, there's no way in the world I can see a 78 Cutlass hatchback for 18 grand. Somebody is making good friends with Hunter. Uh, Annie, my tomatoes are blooming but not setting fruit. They're not getting pollinated. There's your problem. If you've got flowers and you're not getting any fruit, I cannot think you've got all male flowers, because I have my first couple of tomatoes have just started. There's like two tomatoes. I looked at them this morning, just getting a little bit of pink hue to them. Okay. I mean, barely. But if you're not getting any fruit on there, you're not getting any pollination. So you're going to have to get out and hand pollinate. And then the other question is, why aren't you getting any of the pollinators in your garden? So, Kathy Acevedo, how do you know when your spring sweet potatoes are ready to pick? Because you need to count 120 days from when you put them in the ground. Okay, that's pretty much your answer. 120, 125 days, that's when you need to pick. Sweet potatoes are weird like that. You go by the calendar because there's not a real good way to tell otherwise. Because I mean, sweet potatoes are, believe it or not, sweet potatoes are actually a flower. They're in the morning glory family, and I know morning glories around here, the wild ones, are the death of me pulling these vines out of the gardens because they just grow like crazy. Uh, but they will just the plant will just keep growing and growing and set flowers and do whatever, and your potatoes will rot in the ground. You need to go back and figure out when you planted them. This is why I have said many times it's important to keep a gardening journal. When you planted them, 120 to 125 days, pull them. Leo, thank you for the super chat. Says, hi, Pinball. Here's some funding for Mrs. P's Wildlife Fund. I'm south of you in central Georgia. What am I planning on planting for my fall garden? It's funny you ask. One of my neighbors was asking me this today. We will go back and plant more cabbage, more beets. I'm trying to chit some of my potatoes that I just harvested a week or so, about 2 weeks ago now. Trying to chit some of the small ones to see if I can get another crop of potatoes, because my potato crop, like I said, was only about 100 pounds this year, and I'd like to get more than that. So those are the plans around here. And just because we eat, I mean, cabbage a lot. I mean, I think Mrs. P made somewhere between 25 and 30 quarts of kimchi. We've eaten most of it. So it's something we can have on the diet, and both of us love it. So let's see. Swamp Ninja, having no luck with tarragon from seeds. Any suggestions? Tarragon's another thing I've never grown, so I can't help you with that. Inigo Montoya, there's a question. My favorite Chicago food, a pizza, Chicago style Portillo's beef. There you go. Boy, you know that one. Chicago hot dog or pierogies. It's got to be an Italian beef sandwich. I make them at home. I can't, I mean, yeah, you're just not going to get next to as good as Portillo's. Deep dish Chicago pizza is Giordano's is a close second. I don't consider pierogies really a Chicago food, and a Chicago hot dog is good. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Philly can have their cheesesteaks all you want. There is no better sandwich in the world than an Italian beef. So. Dan Rose, what do I think of Thomas Massie or Rand Paul as VP? I'm not a big Thomas Massey fan. I think he's a little talk out of both sides of his mouth. Rand Paul would be interesting. I mean, Rand Paul would make a good president. Rand Paul and Donald Trump, though, I I think there'd be too much headbutting about how to do things, because I mean they do have different, they have the same objective but different paths to get there. Let's put it that way. I don't. I would be shocked if Trump picked either one of them. Who's your daddy? Tomatoes and cucumbers are fruits, not vegetables. Okay. If we want to get technical, yes, I got you. You're right. Okay. I know tomatoes are cucumbers. I don't think, no, cucumbers. I don't think cucumbers are a fruit. Uh, could be wrong. God's prepared warrior. I hear Hurricane Beryl is about to hit Texas. Pray for us. Yes. Looks like it's going to come in somewhere between Corpus Christi and Houston. I've got friends, not on the coast there, but I've got friends in the DFW area and down in Katy. And I mean, you're going to have 3 to 6 inches of rain inland. I mean, I guess it's supposed, from what I saw this afternoon, I guess it's supposed to hit the Texas coast as a cat too. Because Houston just needs another kick in the teeth, right? So, hey guys, the 4th of July was a couple of days ago. No fireworks being shut off. So, go figure. Jeannie McAdams, any thoughts on Freestone versus Clingstone peaches? I have an opportunity to buy a bushel of Clingstone for 60, much less than last year. Personally, I prefer Freestone just because they're a lot easier. You don't lose as much meat on the pits, okay? They come out nice and clean. But honestly, I mean, I know everybody say, oh, there's this peach or that peach, and they can taste the difference. A peach is a peach is a peach to me, okay? Maybe I've got lousy taste buds, I don't know. For processing, Freestone's a lot easier, but either one of them are fine. If you can get, again, my opinion, if you can get Freestone, get those. It'd save you a lot less time on processing them. If you're going to juice them or something like that, doesn't matter. So, matter of fact, I'm not even sure. I mean, I was out looking at my peaches today. I did spray, guys, so these June bugs are still all over the place. That's what we think they are. I got a couple of them in the peaches today. Anyway, hopefully be picking peaches by the end of the week. I mean, they're bigger than a tennis ball now. They're still hard though. So, Dawn Hill, I thinned out my carrots so they are good so far. My onions not so much. I guess no one around here is having luck with onions. My onions didn't come out great this year. I mean, they were okay, but I didn't get baseball size onions. The best ones were tennis ball size onions, and I got a lot of golf ball size onions. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, some things, again, something I was talking about today, people were asking me at the picnic. My cabbage was great. My beets were great. My onions were my potatoes were I don't know, so you can't say it's root crops because my beets were great, but why was my potato crop a third less than normal? That's the thing about gardening. Every year you don't know what's going to work, and this is why we put stuff up. I mean, I didn't expect I was going to have this many peaches on the tree. I didn't expect I was going to have any plums on the tree. Remember, I told you we were going to cut the tree down because it was supposed to be an apricot, and they sent us a plum, and all of a sudden the thing's producing plums. Now we're going to keep the tree. You never know, and so that's why it's important to plant a variety of things and process whatever you get. The Sentinel, is Joe Biden an animal, vegetable, or a mineral? Yeah, Joe Biden is definitely a vegetable. Back to basics, living and preparedness. Okay. Did I see the Newsmax thing that Biden could replace Kamala with Barack? All right. Somebody, and I know there's these lawyers that'll say stuff that, I mean, there's idiots in every profession, guys, okay? The Constitution specifically says that in order to be vice president, you have to be qualified to be the president, just in case, oh, I don't know, the 25th Amendment gets used, okay? Barack Obama is no longer eligible to be president of the United States, not because of any birth certificate, but because he's already served two terms. He is not eligible to be VP. Okay. Otherwise, I mean, how stupid is that? Joe Biden says, "Oh, I'm going to pick Barack Obama as my vice president." Great. January 21st, he goes, "I'm stepping down, Barack Obama, you're president." "Oh, I can't run again." "Okay, yeah, I know," because they say, "Oh, it's elected." Mind you, this is their argument. Well, the vice president isn't elected. That's the president that's elected. That is completely wrong. Okay, and I will use this as an example. There's now some 200 and some odd million dollars in the Biden campaign kitty. Okay. The only person who that money is transferable to is Kamala Harris. It can't go to Gavin Newsom. It can't go to Gretchen Whitmer. It can't go to anybody except for Kamala Harris. Why? Because she is on the ticket to be elected along with Joe Biden. Okay. That's how that works. No, Newsmax is 100% wrong. Ask any lawyer who actually knows something about the Constitution, not these ambulance chasers. And they are completely wrong. Barack Obama is not eligible to be vice president. He cannot be on the ticket. Simply put. Okay. Yeah, Newsmax, I don't know what the hell happened over there. Newsmax used to be somewhat of a respectable conservative organization. They've gone to National Enquirer status and starting to really tip left. Every story I'm seeing with them is just crazy stupid. So I don't know what's going on, but I mean, I give them next to no credibility anymore. This is another perfect example why. Crochet, gotta love it. Okay, as soon as I started to read it, it shot to the bottom. Let me see if I can find the beginning. It was something along the lines of, do I use grow bags? And I couldn't get any further there. No, I don't. I have nothing against them. Actually, I gave Brett some for Christmas. I don't use grow bags because I've got good space to do my gardens. Not everybody's got them. Okay. The thing, as I've said many times, the thing you got to remember when you're planting in grow bags or buckets or whatever, you need to water those a lot more than if you're planting in the ground. Okay, just remember that. But I'm sorry I missed the rest of the question. It's YouTube shooting the chat up on me. Motimer, my power company requested a 30.5% rate hike by 2026. It gives me more reason to double my solar capacity. Yeah. Why are they requesting it? Oh, I don't know. Could it have something to do with the fact that we can't use coal, we can't use nuclear, we can't use natural gas, so we'll make electricity outrageously expensive so nobody can have it, right? Yeah, I mean, again, and I agree with you, trying to get yourself, however, as best you can, energy independent. I mean, you guys know me. I mean, I can generate about a quarter of what what I generate is about a quarter of what I use. Okay. However, no, I generate more than that. About a quarter of the power we use a day, I generate on my own. Okay. It's something. It's not everything, but it's better than nothing. Christopher Meyer, do I think if Biden will even make it till November? I've said for months. I think I even said on January 1st, Biden will not be on the top of the ticket in November. No, I do not think he'll make it. Silicon Valley, California. Good evening, Pinball. I got some zucchini starts. Is it okay to plant in used potato soil? Any plants do not plant adjacent to the zucchini. Okay. I've done a video in the past before on revitalizing soils. Okay. You're going to need to have to add some compost would be best. At a minimum, you're going to have to add some fertilizer, especially the potatoes. The potatoes took out a lot of the nutrients out of the soil there, so that soil is very depleted. So make sure you give it a good dose of food, whether it's a 1313, a 10-10-10, or like I said, a bunch of compost if you're mixing it in, but doesn't sound like that's an option. I'm not a big worrier about what to plant next to each other. I mean, sure, I'll keep some things apart. You know, I don't plant my broccoli next to my cabbage or something like that because that's just attracting all the same type of bugs. But next to zucchini, nah, nothing. Anything's fine next to it as far as I'm concerned. I've never had any problem when I've planted any kinds of squash with all sorts of stuff next to it. You know, the biggest issue you're going to have is when you have your zucchini vines running through your tomatoes or your peppers or something. So that's one thing to think about. If it's something that you've got to go walk through, you know, to pick like tomatoes or something, maybe not. And I would stay away from shorter plants. Don't plant your zucchini next to your carrots or something like that because the zucchini vines will completely shade them out and kill everything that's underneath. So you need something that's going to be a taller plant next to it. James McKay, Mr. P, sitting here in Southeast Texas waiting to see what Beryl is going to do. Prep this can be. Well, I saw there were some evacuation orders, guys. Excuse me. So, I mean, please, if you're staying at home, be smart about it, okay? Because you don't want to be one of those people that, oh crap, it got worse than I thought. Now I'm going to try to get out of here and you can't. So, just if it's going to be close, use your head. If you can get inland, get inland. That's all I'm going to say. But be careful. Redbird Acres. How will they pull some of this stuff off when we're all predicting it all? Assassination, bombing out, new pandemic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Good question. Okay. And I think that's what really gets them too. It's like, oh crap, we had that in the plan and now they've already figured that one out. Oh crap, we had that one, blah, 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 blah. You know, even though you heard rumors on a pandemic was coming, nobody really expected 2020. Okay. Whatever is happening is going to catch us by surprise. Okay. I mean, it'll be, I don't know, like a 9/11 type event or something. Something's going to happen. And who knows what it's going to be. I mean, I don't trust Joe Biden as far as I could spit in the middle of a hurricane. So, you know, something will happen. Master Blaster, when isn't Joe a medical emergency? Yeah, no kidding. Rick's Corner. Hey, Pinball, I think Kamala is going to be president and appoint Hillary as vice president so she can run again. That's okay. I've heard this rumor. There's a big problem. Okay. Now, if you think Kamala is going to be president because Joe is going to either step down or be kicked out 25th, okay, that's one thing. If you think Kamala is going to win the election in November, man, please send me your email. I want to bet you on that one, okay? Like put my house up against yours. But if you think that Kamala is going to be president because Joe's going to step down and appoint Hillary, there's a little problem with that. Congress has to approve whoever she would pick as VP. Ain't no way on the face of this earth the House of Representatives is going to say, yeah, Hillary's a good choice. So no, that ain't going to happen. The only way Hillary is on any sort of ticket, Hillary'd still have to win. And I'm sorry, but Hillary is not the type that's going to play second fiddle to the cackling hen. That just ain't happening. So no, Hillary's. See, they can't do another primary. Unless they can convince all these superdelegates and get some state delegates to be, what's the word there? I can't think of it. Unloyal or whatever it is. I forget what the word is. Electors. That'd be the only way Hillary would get the nomination, if you will. But I mean, you think about that, it's like, okay, Trump already beat Hillary once. Should we run her again? I mean, duh, but no. Paladin won next. Geez, boy, that tells you how time flies. Next month is the 10-year anniversary of Ferguson riots. Whew, that goes back. Southern Cat Lady, Truist Bank is no longer issuing any line of credit at 18% effective August 4th. Do you think it's a bad sign for the bank? And okay, a line of credit at 18%, I've got to think that's credit cards. Because anybody that's taking that out for car loans or mortgages or whatever it is, I mean, that's criminal. I don't know what the line of credit for business, what those rates are, or anything like that. Maybe that's where it is. I couldn't see that, but possible. But yeah, I think it's a bad sign for the bank. If the bank's not going to be loaning money, that means the bank doesn't have the money to loan. That's a problem. Because how do banks make money? They don't make money by you depositing your paycheck into the bank account and they go, oh, look, we got an extra $700. Let's go do something with it. No, the banks make money by going, oh, we're going to write this mortgage for $400,000. We're going to finance this car for 40 grand, whatever. That's where they're making the money. The 5% they can get now buying treasuries is nothing compared to the, gee, we're going to write this mortgage and we've got 7% coming for the next freaking 30 years. That's where they make their money. So yeah, them not issuing lines of credit, that's an issue. Member Barry, lost all my peaches to Mother Nature. The heat and animals in East Texas are killing me this year. Any advice to keep motivated? Most people in my area are telling me it's a pointless battle. Like I said, I mean, I'm fighting June bugs. We have had little to no rain in a month. Okay, so I'm out watering every other day, including my fruit trees. It's been in the high 80s, low 90s here for 2 weeks. So I'm right there with you. And the only thing is, I want to eat. Okay, I want to keep putting food up. And again, I go back to our ancestors. They had to do it, okay? They didn't have the option of, gee, I'm just going to run up to Piggly Wiggly and go buy something. No, we're lucky we have that. Until when? We don't know, okay? And all those people that are like, oh, gee, the store's closed. What do I do now? I'm going to the pantry. I don't know what you're doing, but not my problem. And all the people that are telling you it's a pointless battle, go watch my video this morning about optimism and pessimism. Okay. If there's nothing you can do about it, that's giving up. Okay. Sorry, that ain't my vernacular. Termo Dog, Charlie Kirk says Joe Biden will be a slip-in for Joe. Yeah, that'll be fun to watch that one. Donald versus Jill, right? I mean, I don't get this. Because think about it. We went Hillary Clinton, everybody's talking about Michelle Obama, and now we're saying Joe Biden. What suddenly qualifies the spouse of a president to be the next president? No. I mean, think about this. What qualifies your spouse to do your job? You've been a school teacher your entire life. Your spouse is an engineer. If you no longer want to be a school teacher, does your spouse go, I can do the job? No, it doesn't work that way. You don't learn how to do something by osmosis, okay? And I mean, even if you did, as incompetent as Joe is, if Jill's osmosis is from Joe, okay, that's replacing a potato with a turnip. Tennessee lady, the deers have found me, cleaned out a 2x10-foot bed of sweet potatoes, ate most of the strawberries, ate a row of tomatoes. Great learning lesson. Yeah, expensive one. Yeah, I mean, and again, depending on where you are in situations I don't have I see deer in the neighborhood. I don't have the deer problem. Okay. Don't ask me why. I mean, sure, last year the deer got a couple of ears of corn. That was it. Okay. We had one head of cabbage that had a bite out of it. Okay. And deer love cabbage too. I don't have to put fencing up around my gardens. Maybe you do. Maybe you've got to get a chicken wire fence on there. Maybe you have to put an electric wire around it. I mean, again, and we've talked about this many times, you got to figure out what works for you, because what I do isn't necessarily going to work for somebody else. I've got different soil. I've got different conditions, weather-wise, shade-wise, sun-wise, whole 9 yards. I mean, no doubt. I mean, I watch Danny and Wanda. I watch James Prigioni. I watch Mark from Self-Sufficient Me. I mean, God knows I got different conditions than a guy growing stuff in Australia. Okay. I learn things from them, but I have to take what their ideas are and figure out how to adapt them to my certain situation. Same thing there. Like you said, great learning lesson. Yeah, okay. I learned that I got to do something to prevent the deer from getting into my garden. I'm dealing with all these bugs, It's like, okay, this is a new one for me. I mean, it's crazy. It's like there's swarms, but it is what it is. I mean, and every year you got something different you got to figure out. It's like, oh crap, here's a new challenge. Zoomer Prepper, how do I cure a white mold-looking fungus on my zucchini and cucumbers? This is going to sound really silly, but this is very easy. Get some milk, dilute it with water, and spray it on the leaves. That's it. Okay, that's all you need to do. North Whittington Circle Farm. There's a good question. Was it Clinton on Air Force One with old Joe? Yeah. Oh no, Joe actually walked off the plane apparently, so we didn't have any Arkansas going on. Booney June, what do I think of a butane burner for indoor cooking? I've got a propane burner, but I can use that for outside if I need to. Sometimes I use it for when I'm like boiling water, when I'm making potting soil or seed starting mix. That way I can just do it all outside and I'm not running in and out with water. A butane burner for indoor cooking depends on the BTUs you're getting out of it. If you're getting sufficient BTUs, yeah, go for it. I mean, I love watching these videos. People are like, oh, you got to have sterno. You ever tried to cook anything over a can of sterno? Don't bother. But depending on the BTUs, yeah, go for it. Kevin Little, Ted Nugent did a 4-part interview with Kyle Rittenhouse on his YouTube channel a while ago. Definitely worth a watch. Kyle Rittenhouse had a great comment on Twitter on the 4th of July, just popped up in my feed. He says, just remember today you're celebrating 17-year-olds who are running around with rifles. I was like, that's great. He's so right. Uh, Mike Gibbs, all it was about is they forgot to stock Air Force One with extra Depends. Yeah, no kidding. That would be a crisis for this administration. Soul Reaper, Steve Poplar did a video today about the coming economic nightmare. He stated that it will be worse than the Great Depression. I agree with him. Okay. Because when we finally cannot pay the debt, okay, when the economy collapses in the United States, you got to understand this is completely different than Zimbabwe's currency collapsing or the Venezuelan bolivar collapsing. When the US dollar collapses, the entire world economy collapses. And it's not like it's just going to be limited to us. You're in England, Canada, Australia, Germany, wherever. They're going to feel the ripple effects big time. And yeah, it's going to be worse than the Great Depression. I haven't seen Steve's video, but I agree with him. I said, when we have an economic collapse, that is what I figure. This is my opinion. That is what I figure is the trigger. Okay, we're going to have economic collapse, and then at that point, that's when you're going to have some sort of world war start, because at that point, other countries are going to be ripe for picking, and I still am a believer that it's going to be like an EMP or something, because China wants the land that is the U.S. They don't want the people, okay? But when China's buying all this grain from the U.S. and all this water from the U.S., do you really think they want to poison it all? No. Use an EMP, we all die, the land is fine, and they go on about their way. But again, that would be followed by an economic collapse first. That's me game planning it all. Okie Forge, I watched that Dr. Phil video. It was worth the 10-minute watch, knowing he is influencing people to prep. That wasn't the whole video. Okay, that was one cut of it. But Drew Miller got a hold of me the other day and told me about it. Fortitude Ranch. And so I went and checked it out. I mean, I watched the beginning where there's some guy in Indiana who was, talking about this huge bunker he's got and everything. That was just a waste of time, but that 10-minute segment was worth the watch. Chris Bulldog, am I doing anything special to put coffee back? I've just got cans and cans and cans and cans of coffee. I mean, they're vacuum sealed already, so there's nothing I really need to do with them. Gypsy B, did you see 2 grocery stores in Alabama have vending machines? Yes, I saw this. Yeah, selling ammunition. I thought that was great. So, but that will tell you something right there and I didn't see if it was by the box or by the round. I saw the headline on it. But that'll tell you something right there. The only thing that worries me is, can you imagine? It's like, yeah, I gotta go rob a store. Well, hey, you know what? Let's go over to the local grocery store. We can just buy the bullets right there. It's like that again. My belief in an SHTF event: never use ammunition as a barter item, because all you're doing is, I'll give you a box of bullets for a case of green beans. Great. Do the swap, and he goes, boom. The guy's got the box of bullets and the case of green beans, and you're lying bleeding out. Never trade bullets. Florida Mama Bear, tomatoes stop setting fruit if nighttime temps are above 76. Okay, never heard that. Not gonna argue with you. I didn't know that. Okay. Linda S, I have similar weather as you. How long do you overhead water each section? 1 hour. Okay. And again, I will go out and do the finger test. Stick your finger in the ground up to your second knuckle. Obviously, people have longer and shorter fingers. About 2 inches. if it's dry, which with the weather around here, it dries up pretty quick, you need to water. But short watering is not good. You need long soaking water. And again, depending on the plants, I don't have to water my beans, say, as much as I do my cucumbers and my tomatoes. Tomatoes, and you guys know this about tomatoes, you gotta even water tomatoes. This is why you have to do this every other day or whatever, because if the tomato plant dries out and then you give it a bunch of water, the tomato cracks. Okay, so if you keep them every couple of days with an hour's worth of water, or obviously if it rains, it gets plenty, the tomato won't split. Cucumbers 95% water. You're not going to grow any cucumbers unless you keep that soil moist. Debstein, is there a way to tell determinate and indeterminate seeds? Yeah, you're looking at a tomato seed. No, there's no way to tell which is which. Kathleen Maddox, when do I start my fall garden? Late August. But again, you guys got to remember, I mean, what I'm planting too are cold weather crops. Cabbage, beets, stuff like that, they can handle temperatures below freezing. Sometimes we don't get that at all. Okay. I mean, a couple of years ago, it was 60 some odd degrees on Christmas Eve. Okay. Then a couple of years ago, too, it was also 0. So you'd never know. But I mean, my first frost date is Halloween. I can easily get to harvest by Thanksgiving most years. So, if I've got 90 days from the end of August, then I'm talking to end of Thanksgiving or to Thanksgiving, I'm pretty good. North of the 52nd, will netting block tomatoes from pollinating? Depends on how tight the netting is. If the bugs can get through, nope, no problem. Paprika Pauline, can I replant onions that were little I kept in the fall? I'm in 9B. Onions are biennials, okay? So what that means is 1 year it'll grow a bulb, the next year it will go to seed. So if you replant your onions, you're not going to get a bigger bulb, but it will go to seed. Okay, you will get that scape on the top with the seed pod in it. JD Marie, what do I think happens to Israel if the ICC arrests Benjamin Netanyahu? If the ICC does that, you're going to have world chaos. Because, I mean, arresting a head of state whose country was attacked, yeah, no. Okay. Yes, Sherry, Florida Boss Girl, when am I planting my fall garden? Since we seem to be 5 to 6, I'm assuming weeks ahead of schedule. I'm not necessarily worried about that. I'm watching temperatures. Okay. I will start my seedlings inside mid-August, late August. By the time they go out will be mid-September. And at that point, I'm not overly worried about too many 90-degree days at that point. The beets can handle, the cabbage isn't going to like 90-degree days. The potatoes aren't going to care. Somebody said Illuminati's pizza. There you go. And caches. What is the best communication to have for SHTF if cell goes out? Currently without service, so it's on my mind. We've talked about all sorts of different ways. Okay. CB radio is probably the easiest and the cheapest because you can get, if you get a decent setup, as long as you get a good antenna, you can get yourself some decent range. Ham radio, obviously you've got to get a license. Ham radio requires a learning curve. How to use it. That's going to be even better. And yeah, you can get the little Baofangs for $35 or whatever it is. That's fine. But it's then getting the license and using it and how to tune it and repeaters and all this sort of stuff, there's a greater learning curve. Either one is going to be good for receiving knowledge. When you're talking about communications, to talk to somebody, depending on what your distance is, if you're trying to talk to somebody within a mile away, two-way radio is perfect. Okay. Don't worry about these little walkie-talkies or something like that. They're unsecure. Okay. So you're not going to have a conversation over because somebody else can walk back in, be on the same channel, and go, cool, I can listen to everything you're talking about. I mean, they might be good for posting guard duty, radio check in, that's it. Okay, good. Holy crap, get out here. But having conversations, communication, no, I wouldn't use walkie-talkies. Miranda Babcock, we celebrated the 4th by having a hand pump installed on the 3rd. There you go. Been saving for years. Lose power all the time. Live on septic. Now we can flush. There you go. Yay. Nice. MS, what do I think of it's 10 o'clock. What do I think of Tulsi Gabbard? I like Tulsi Gabbard. I do not trust her. Okay. She is still a Democrat. And I agree with what she's talking about, but I don't trust her. And I'm sorry, that's enough for me to say no. All right, I ran a minute over. So sorry about that, but it was fun tonight. Have a good evening, guys. We'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.